We'll probably start it off with Maguire because, look, he's still, even a day after yesterday, he's still dominating the back pages, Gabby. So, in your opinion, what would you do? Would you start him at the World Cup?
I think, first of all, we have to give Harry Maguire credit. You know, a lot of other players would have quit international football with the stick that he's got, the abuse, the constant negative stories you read about him. So you gotta give credit to him. He doesn't let it affect him. He turns up every international break, gives his all for England. Then first half for me, I thought he done very well. You know, playing from the back, very comfortable. He was making challenges. He looked comfortable in that defence. But the problem with Harry Maguire sometimes is that when he's comfortable, he starts to think it's too easy, and that's what happened for the penalty. He receives the ball, it's a sloppy pass that gets intercepted. Then the player runs at him and he gives away the penalty. So he'll be angry at that, of his concentration, because he was having a good game until then. And then in his mind, he's probably thinking, oh, okay, everyone's going to be like, oh, Harry Maguire give away a penalty. So it will affect him for the rest of the game like it did. You know, he kept giving the fouls away, wasn't the same. So for me, I would still play him in the World Cup, but it has to be in a back three, not a back two.
Gab, when you've lost your belief, like we both played football and you hit a crisis
every season.
So you go back to
the basics.
What was your basics as a striker?
Try and control the ball. No, I think you just do. For a striker, you want to hold the ball up. You want to get a shot off. Maybe if you're going through a crisis of running games without a goal, you'll maybe play a safe shot. You know, you won't try and put your foot through the ball. You'll side foot it when you're through 1-on-1. You know, try and keep it on target. But Harry Maguire for the first half looked comfortable. You know,
I'll give you an example. Harry Maguire, because I was manager of Doncaster. We played Sheffield United. Danny Wilson was the manager of Sheffield United. He played centre back with Collins, and Danny Wilson got the ball forward from back to front, and he hit diagonal after diagonal. And Harry Maguire was brilliant at hitting balls to the left winger's chest with his right foot. And they got the club record clean sheets, right? They missed out on promotion and lost in the playoffs. The following season, David Weir took over and got him playing out from the back and got him playing total football right through the club. Worst defensive record in the league, all over the place. Because Collins and Maguire split, started receiving the ball and playing balls into midfield, getting it back, losing it, isolated like he was the other night. He's got a 1v1 situation on the corner of the box. It's not his strength. So for me, he's got to simplify his game. Hit diagonals and get through 3 games without making a mistake, instead of putting yourself under pressure by trying to play out-and-out football when it's not your game. It's not his game.
I totally agree.
Can I ask a question? If it gets to the World Cup and he's not started in the Premier League, and the only games that he's got are things like Carabao Cup games or Europa League games, would you still start him, Gabs?
I think it's hard, but and first of all, Varane's got a bad injury record. For all we know, Varane might pick up a knock, and Maguire's back in, and he gets his form back from Manchester United. But it's a tough decision because we're not blessed with any elite centre-halves. You know,
I'm asking the question because we've been speaking about this last couple of days, but would you not try if Fikayo Tomori's just won the league out in Italy?
100% Tomori deserves a chance. And for me, Dan Burn deserves a chance because he's been outstanding for Newcastle. Tyrone Mings for me as well. He's harsh not to be in the England squad because for England, he's not put a foot wrong. And everyone tries to jump on that bandwagon with Tyrone Mings. But recently, he's been outstanding for Aston Villa. Strong, he's got pace. Yes, he's not very good like other centre-halves playing from the back. But he's aggressive, rarely gets beaten 1v1. So there's centre-halves that are fighting for that spot. But should we not trust Southgate for what he done in the Euros and just trust him in this World Cup? I think he's earned the right to be able to take this England squad that he wants into the World Cup and let him be judged of what they do in the World Cup. I'd play 3 at the back. I'd play Walker, I'd play Dyer, and I'd play Maguire, and I'd play Reece James, right wing back, and I'd play Luke Shaw, left wing back, Bellingham, Rice, Saka, Kane, Sterling. That would be my team.
Not many of them confident at the moment. Not many of them players playing with any confidence. So
they've
got 2 months to go, though. Yeah,
but look at the last 20-30 minutes. How good did we look against Germany? Saka on that right. For me, Saka starts before Foden. Saka has to start before Foden.
I think Gareth Southgate's whole thinking is, I can't play a back 4, we're not good enough. I've tried it a couple of times. I've gone to 4-4-3 and was shipping goals for fun because the back 4 is not good enough. So I'm going to have to play with 3 centre-halves.
This is what I said, though. If we had Rio Ferdinand and John Terry, Trent will play right back for me. because you've got elite centre-halves who can cover him. Rio would cover him every time he went forward and be able to deal with 2v1. But we haven't got any elite centre-halves. All the centre-halves we've got are good players, but they're not good enough to allow our right-back to not be good defensively. And even Reece James in a 4, I'd be like, I'm not too sure about that. As a wing-back, yes, and then get the 3 centre-halves in. Because in the Euros, how many times did Kyle Walker sprint from right side of a 3 and sprint back and be a sweeper and cover the other 2 centre-halves, Stones and Maguire? So Walker starts in that back 3, and then you got Reece James available as well.
Do you think it's a problem with the coaching that we've put in the last 5 years? You've got
no.
defenders who can all of them. Every defender you've named there can play out from the back, good footballer. But when they're in a 1v1 situation, you'd like to play against Maguire 1v1.
Yeah.
You'd like to play against Dyer, John Stones. You get them all isolated 1v1. Can't cope.
Maybe we're just not blessed with elite centre halves. You know, we had Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, John Terry. These guys were like elite. You know, 1v1 could defend. John Terry, even though he wasn't the quickest, he got in 1v1. He just jockey. He wouldn't have like stepped in like Maguire did and give away that penalty. You know, he's going to jockey, wait for someone to come out and help him. Rio Ferdinand, you're not going to beat him for pace. When's the last defender we've had like Rio Ferdinand, whose strikers are scared to run against, scared to even try and knock it past?
I think
that's the problem.
I understand what you're saying about back Southgate. You know, he's taken us to a final in the last Euros, etc., etc. I think a lot of the frustration though comes from the last run of results and the performances that they're seeing. The fact that in the last 6 games they haven't won a single game. You might be right, Gabs. It might get to the World Cup and it might be completely different. And once you take these players out of this country and put them in a World Cup camp, he'll be able to get that sort of vibe back that he had for the Euros. And I really hope that's right.
You are right about tomorrow, though. He definitely deserved a chance, especially in these 2 games we just had. It was strange not to put him in there, see what he can do against a Germany, you know, and Italy, a decent side. But do you not think now that these players haven't played enough games, it's risky to start them in a World Cup?
I think it's risky now. Yeah. I think there were loads of chances to do it in the last games that we've seen England play in. The last 3 games that we've seen them play in, it would have been to get them in and to integrate them, then for them to have enough time. I think what's really risky is going to a World Cup and risking one of our centre-backs picking up an injury and then bringing someone in that hasn't really had time to bed in with this team and then feels like a rabbit in the headlights. I
totally agree.
I don't know if that would be a Fikayo Tomori thing. He might get into that team and they might switch straight into gear, which you hope, which is probably what Gareth Southgate is banking on as well, and also hoping that you get no injuries. I don't know. I just think it was a bit of an opportunity missed.
I agree.
But we're not England manager, are we? And we didn't get him to a final of the Euros.
He's doing something right. He's survived 8 years. If you survive as England manager for 8 years, you're doing something right.
And you've consistently been outperforming in the previous tournament. And I think the concern comes and the criticism comes from worrying that this time he go a step further. It's a World Cup. There's harsher tests.
Well, how good did we look the last 20-30 minutes?
Yeah,
you know, everyone being confident, getting on the ball, attacking. Saka looked outstanding. He's got a start on that right. We all love Phil Foden. You know, he's the golden boy. But for me, Saka starts before Phil Foden.
Do you know what, Gab? They took the handbrake off. That's why they look so good. When they take the handbrake off, they look really good.
Exactly.
But
because they were 2 goals down.
They will ship goals with the handbrake off.
100%.
So you've got to win 3-2.
Yep.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.